As the NYPD gets set to deploy body cams on more than 1,000 officers, the department unveiled new guidelines regarding how those cameras will be used. Sharon Crowley walks us through it.
The New York City Police Department guidelines for using body cameras are out. It's already stirring up critics. Several unions are upset and want a court to block the rollout of the federally mandated pilot program. The New York Civil Liberties Union agrees with some of the guidelines, but not all, specifically that the officers, not the public, have early access to what was recorded.
The NYPD policy lets officers view footage before making a statement when they're being investigated for misconduct, and it could leave officers with the ability to tailor their own statements to something that matches what's on the footage as opposed to what they actually recalled from the encounter.
This all started in 2013 when a federal judge ruled the NYPD must end its stop and frisk program. As part of that decision, she ordered the department test out body cameras. The program will begin later this month in Washington Heights and Inwood. About 50 cops will be wearing body cameras on duty.
The NYPD is going to roll out 1,200 cameras, and they're going to compare the behavior of officers and the public on those cameras to what's happening in incidents where there isn't a camera, and then they're going to try to figure out whether the cameras work.
Barry Friedman is the director of the policing project at the NYU Law School. He helped get feedback from the public. That helped shape the new guidelines. Friedman learned most people want a cop to let them know if they're being recorded.
The public's really glad to have body cameras, but then they have a range of views about, when they should be turned on, when they should be turned off, how access to the video should occur.
Under the guidelines, cameras will be turned on during enforcement and investigative encounters. The footage will be retained for at least a year. Cameras will be turned off if an officer is interviewing the victim of a sex crime or a confidential informant. By the end of this year, about 1,000 officers will be wearing body cameras. And if the pilot program is a success, then the mayor and the police commissioner would like to see about 20,000 officers wearing body cameras in the next 2 years. Sharon Crowley, Fox 5 News.
Now, a major development in police community relations in the city as the NYPD rolls out its plan to outfit all patrol officers with body cameras. CBS 2 political reporter Marsha Kramer explains how it'll work.
The 34th Precinct in Washington Heights doesn't lead the city by any means in the number of civilian complaints filed against its officers, but it is a leader in neighborhood policing, which is why it was selected as the first command to be issued body cameras, a move experts call
a breakthrough moment.
Barry Friedman of NYU Law School's Police Policy Project did the research for the NYPD on the body camera project.
The NYPD's body camera policy and its engagement with the public is historic.
Friedman's input came from polling 25,000 New Yorkers and 5,000 cops. The program starts in the 34th Precinct at the end of the month. All 22,000 patrol officers will get body cameras by the end of 2019. There are guidelines for when the cameras must be turned on, including interviewing potential suspects at the scene and responding to emergency situations, and when they should be turned off, such as interviewing a sex crime victim or confidential informant. The video will be kept for 1 year and is viewed as critical in a city that has been rocked by incidents like the Eric Garner chokehold case and the controversial police shootings of Akai Gurley and Ramarley Graham.
The view is that just having the camera on the officer leads both officers and the public to temper their relationships, to act more calmly.
The 34th Precinct ranks in the average category in terms of civilian complaints. In February, for example, the Civilian Complaint Review Board received 4 complaints about the 34th Precinct. There were 17 at the 101st Precinct in Far Rockaway during the same month. Washington Heights residents had this to say.
I think it's a good idea for them, and hopefully for the public.
The more cameras, the better.
Now it captures both sides, and just not the person that's, that's being caught by the police or anything. So now you have both sides of the picture.
Well, late today, unions representing detectives, captains, and lieutenants said they'll go to court to stop the program. The NYPD said that while the unions have the right to sue, their intention is to move forward unless stopped by a judge. A spokesman said the unions were invited to participate in shaping the policy. Maurice and Christine.
Okay, Marsha, thank you.
man?
No. What for though?
I just told you why. Come over here and talk to me. Let's go.
Really?
Or do you just want to be arrested right now? It's your choice.
What do you want to talk to me for though?
I will let you know. Come over here. We got called on you.
What did I do though?
I'm going to talk to you. Come over here and talk to me.
Come over and talk to this officer.
Alright, let's go.
Okay, over here.
Keep your hands out of your pockets for me.
Oh, sorry, look, I ain't got nothing.
You got a gun on you. Do not reach for it in your pocket.
What? What are you doing, dude? What are you doing?
Look at your hands! Look at your hands! Weaver 3 of 11, shots fired! Shots fired! Do not move!
NYPD set to deploy 1,200 body cams for the first time in the city after a judge ruled officers were targeting Black and Hispanic men. About 1,200 NYPD officers will get the cameras starting at the end of the month. The program was ordered in 2013 after a judge ruled officers were wrongly targeting minorities. The use of the devices have skyrocketed following a string of killings of unarmed blacks by police. Officers will turn on their cameras for arrests, summonses, and vehicle stops, interactions with crime suspects, and when using force. The New York Police Department will deploy 1,200 body cameras by the end of the month after long talks about how the controversial devices would be used. The pilot program was ordered by a judge following a 2013 ruling that officers were wrongly targeting Black and Hispanic men with its stop and frisk program. At the time, few police departments used body cameras, but the use of the devices has skyrocketed around the country following a string of killings of unarmed blacks by police and the ambush killings of officers in New York City, Dallas, and Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The cameras will be distributed to about 1,200 officers who work the evening shifts around the city. Mayor Bill de Blasio has said he wants all 23,000 of its patrol officers outfitted with cameras by 2019. Officials made the decision after resolving some of the thorniest issues on when to switch on the camera, how long to keep the tape, and when to tell the public they're being recorded. Both officers and citizens have said cameras could help de-escalate situations that lead to violence. The proposal states officers will turn on their cameras for arrests, summonses, and vehicle stops, interactions with crime suspects, interactions with a mentally unstable person who is violent, or when using force. The NYPD's deployment had been on hold following a lengthy process to choose the camera company and storage and questions on how they would work. The department sought public comment through a questionnaire and worked with New York University's policing project to analyze the results. Some 25,000 people, plus 5,000 police officers, responded anonymously, and NYPD officials made changes based on the outcome. Public response was disproportionately white relative to the city's population, police officials acknowledged. But the report found that on many key questions, there was little difference in response by race. I think this shows that the public can have a voice in policing, said Barry Friedman of NYU's policing project. One change based on the results was to alert civilians they are being recorded. New Yorkers really want to be told they're being recorded, Assistant Deputy Commissioner Nancy Hoppeck said. And officers really don't want to tell them. Police won't record every interaction, even though the public would prefer it, because there's not enough storage capability and it would bump up against privacy laws and could stop witnesses from coming forward. According to the proposal, which must be approved by a federal monitor, officers will turn on their cameras for arrests, summonses, vehicle stops, interactions with crime suspects, interactions with a mentally unstable person who is violent, or when using force. They record property searches. They won't record demonstrations unless there is a crime or other enforcement. The tapes will be kept for a year and the footage released publicly only in certain cases. Lawyers on the federal stop and frisk case, who are working with the NYPD, said the policy creates too much confusion on when to record. Making a call to turn on a camera in the heat of the moment is much more burdensome for officers, said attorney Darius Charney. Just turning on the camera at the beginning is a much more straightforward approach. Officers will receive a day of training, and the order will be revised as the department gets feedback and does its own study using a year-long comparison to officers without cameras.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County Cop Watch, and I wanted to explain what fair use is. You can use pieces of news articles if you're doing it for news reporting, you have commentary, and you're doing it for education purposes. So that's what fair use is, as you can see right here. Another reason why I wanted to make this video is to let you know I have just joined with Patreon. A nice thing with Patreon, I make no money on YouTube. They took the money away years ago, and so this is another way to give, and it's a nice thing too because you can give monthly. You can give $1, $5, $10, whatever. I do 4 to 5 hours a day on trying to wake the sheeple up on how corrupt it is and different ways that you can fight the corruption. So Patreon is a way that you can do it, and then of course the old way is still there. Donate to Charlotte County Cop Watch with PayPal or credit card. So keep that in mind. 4 to 5 hours a day. I make no money, but the corruption happened to me and I'm sick of it, so I'm trying to wake people up. But my wife would love it if if we could get some help out there. There's 47,000 subscribers. Just think if each one of you subscribers just gave let's say actually yes, $1 a month. 47,000 subscribers gave $1 a month. That would be awesome. That's not going to happen. But anyways, that would be great if it did happen. But do the math in your head. Just think about it. Like I said, 4 to 5 hours a day. I get no money from YouTube. YouTube has gone nuts. You can't do anything anymore. They're taking the money away everywhere. So these are a couple different ways that you can still help out with all this time that I put in. And as you know, I'm in a special situation where at least I can do it. 4 to 5 hours a day. We have a cleaning company during the day. That's what allows me to do this, and we're debt free. So this is my hobby. I don't go fishing and all that other crap. I try to save the world. So help me out to make the wife happy, man. In fact, if you guys did give $1 a day, and there was 47,000 of you, and you did it, and each of you gave $1, and that was every month, oh my God, yes, I could quit. I could start suing them. Another idea too that we have is if I got some funds, we could actually contact everyone that has been ticketed and or arrested and put in jail and start sending them postcards to let them know we're here, and to see if everything went all right, and if it didn't, find out their story. So we could even do more investigations and more lawsuits. Lawsuits take money. So just think about that. 47,000 of you so far right now. $1 a day. $1 a month on Patreon, or $5 a month Patreon, 10, 20, whatever. Just do the math in your head, help out. This is a lot of work every single day. Thanks.